You are given a biased coin. That is, a coin that does not have equal probability of giving heads or tails. You have to make an unbiased decision using this coin. That is, you want 50-50 chance. How can you achieve this? Welcome back. This is our fourth riddle. Not necessarily an easier one, but definitely a shorter one. But that's the beauty of riddles. They don't have to be too complex or too complicated to be fun. As long as you feel your neurons working, this is one of the best exercises for your brain. And getting better and better at making these logical connections can be so helpful in many other aspects of your life. And this riddle is particularly interesting from this perspective, as it shows in simple terms some very powerful tricks. As usual, let's list down the strategies we feel like we could be using in this case. Pause the video now if you want to have a quick go on your own, and I will show you the ones that I think will work best. Number 1 and 2 are pretty standard. Especially when the problem is formulated in simple words, it is essential to 1. Interpret the text correctly and make sure we don't miss anything, as we're not given much. And 2. Understand how to approach it and decompose it in simpler steps. We will obviously need some visual support in the form of sketches or notes. And we will most likely be able to list probabilities, as we're only talking about one single coin with 2 possible outcomes. We can even think of starting to apply the learning from the Russian roulette riddle, as list possibilities and probabilities were 2 major elements that guided us to the solution. Talking of probabilities, this is obviously the main strategy to consider in our second list. As well as maybe number 6, think of playing an adversarial game, as we don't want to end up having the impression of solving the riddle, just because we really didn't consider how the game could play out. A huge part of the thinking process will come only from looking at strategy number 1. We are given one biased coin, and with that we have to make an unbiased decision. The only reasonable thing to do with a coin is to throw it and look at the outcome, that can be either heads or tails. This is literally the only thing we can do, and we already know that if we throw the coin, we will not have equal probability for heads and tails. So we can only throw a coin, but if we throw it once, we will not have the desired outcome. Just putting these 2 pieces of information together results in a simple but powerful intuition. We have to throw the coin more than once. How many times? Well, for this we have to dig a bit further. But first, let's phrase exactly what our goal is. Throwing the coin a number of times, we are looking for 2 outcomes that have equal probability. We don't have to be worried if, on top of these, there are other outcomes, as we can choose to just ignore the results and start again until one of the 2 equally probable outcomes is reached. Let's move into applying strategy number 2. To develop an intuition of what is going on, where the key difficulties are, and how to overcome them, the best way is to mess with the problem, giving things name and assigning values. In this case, let's call P the probability of heads, and as we want to mess with the problem, we can assign a value to it. We have to pick a value that doesn't have any specific meaning. Let's give P the value of 0.7 to start with, just to see what happens. So we have 70% of the throw resulting in heads and 30% for tails. If we throw the coin once, the outcome will be biased. We already know that. So let's see what happens if we throw it twice. Remember the details of the technical strategy video. For 2 independent events, we can just multiply the 2 probabilities together. In the realm of such small numbers, it is worth listing down all possibilities. There are only 4 of them. First throw heads, second throw heads. This is 0.7 times 0.7, or 49%. First heads, second tails. This is 0.3 times 0.7, or 21%. First tails, second heads. This is 0.7 times 0.3, or 21%. And finally, first tails and second tails. This is 0.3 times 0.3, or 9%. But wait a second. We already found 2 cases that have equal probabilities, heads followed by tails, and tails followed by heads. Now, is this peculiar of the choice for P that we made? Well, if you think about how we got these two numbers, it's the product of the same two probabilities, 0.3 and 0.7, except in the second case they are swapped. But multiplication is commutative. The order doesn't matter. So the two products will always be the same. Summing up, we can throw the coin twice, and we associate one of our two possible choices to the heads followed by tails case, and the other to the tails followed by heads case. And if we get two heads or two tails, well, we can just repeat the process until one of our two desired outcomes is reached. Did you solve it? Make sure to let me know down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to the channel to get notified when our next riddle is out. I will see you in the next video. I am Yuri and this is RiddleBear, the channel that will help you develop riddle solving skills and be able to solve riddles you didn't think you were capable of.